The chief executive says preparatory work for legislation on Article 23 of the Basic Law is almost complete. The top court reinstates June 4th vigil activist Chow Hang-tung's conviction. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Chief Executive John Lee attended a Q&A session at the Legislative Council today. He stressed the urgent need for legislation on Article 23 of the Basic Law. The CE said the government had acted too much like a gentleman in the past and was unable to defend itself against hostile forces. Timothy Lee tells us more.
The first Legislative Council Q&A session with the Chief Executive in the 2024 legislative session was held this morning. One of the main topics discussed was legislation under Article 23 of the Basic Law. In his opening speech, Chief Executive John Lee noted the necessity of the legislation by quoting Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office Director Xiao Baolong's speech last year. He said the roots of chaos have not been destroyed and that the city must stay alert for a return of street violence. Lawmakers from all sides expressed support for Article 23 legislation, including the Liberal Party, which objected such legislation in 2003. Lawmaker Regina Ip, who previously pushed for the legislation when she was Secretary for Security, suggests that authorities refer to similar laws in the UK.
The UK reviews their codes of practice after the Act was passed. The code is under a schedule to a law. It takes just 6 weeks to complete the consultation, and then their law enforcement got new powers. Can we have this fast-track approach? But we will also think about which laws, which provisions apply to Hong Kong's conditions. Hong Kong people don't realize the dangers lying out there. Many countries have been watching Hong Kong in a menacing way. But then the pain of 2019 came. National security risks were right before us. That was a wake-up call. We have to be on our guard against hostile forces.
Some lawmakers also hope Article 23 legislation can help deal with the potential threat of artificial intelligence. Lee revealed the preparation work for Article 23 legislation has already reached the final stages. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee also discussed with lawmakers measures to boost the city's events-based economy. The CE announced Deputy Financial Secretary Michael Wong will arrange a cross-department one-stop service to assist large-scale events being held in the city. Lee emphasized that he hopes Hong Kong will make money by hosting such events. Lawmakers, including Vincent Chang, stressed the government could proactively organize events in the SAR, while Judy Chan noted it would benefit Hong Kong by attracting international superstars, such as American singer Taylor Swift, to hold concerts in the city. The CE reiterated that authorities will strengthen efforts to enhance the experience for tourists and, in doing so, attract more visitors to the SAR. Hong Kong's top court today reinstated the conviction of Chow Hang-tung, a former vice chairman of the now-defunct Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements of China. Chow was previously convicted with inciting others to knowingly take part in an unauthorized assembly in 2021. She successfully appealed against the conviction. The Department of Justice took the case to the Court of Final Appeal, which overturned her acquittal. Mimo Singhai reports.
An inflatable tunnel was put up outside the Court of Final Appeal today, where the hearing took place. In April 2021, the Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements of China informed the police that it wanted to hold a candlelight vigil at Victoria Park to commemorate the 32nd anniversary of the June 4th incident in Beijing. The police did not approve the vigil, citing social distancing measures amid the COVID pandemic as the reason. Still, Chow urged the public to attend the vigil by publishing posts and an article on her social media accounts and newspaper before June 4th. In January 2022, the former activist was found guilty of inciting others to knowingly take part in an unauthorized assembly in 2021 and was sentenced to 50 months in prison. Chow successfully appealed against her conviction in the High Court in December 2022. At the time, a High Court judge ruled the police ban was invalid, saying the police had failed to discharge their positive duty by taking the initiative to consider possible conditions which could facilitate the vigil before issuing a ban. The Department of Justice decided to appeal against the ruling, and the Court of Final Appeal today overturned Chow's acquittal, meaning her conviction has been reinstated. The judgment said while Chow had the right to challenge the legality of the police ban, she could not raise the challenge as a defense in criminal proceedings. The 5 judges said organizers and participants of the vigil could have challenged the ban by seeking a judicial review. Meanwhile, the top court also said the police ban was a proportionate and legitimate measure because the authorities had struck a balance between the right of assembly and public interest. News 9, TVB News.
The national security trial of media tycoon Jimmy Lai continued today with more testimony from the former Next Digital CEO, Chung Kim-hung. The trial took place at the West Kowloon Law Courts. Chung revealed more information about the operation of the English edition of Apple Daily. Chung told the court that Jimmy Lai had said the English edition should be pro-yellow, which meant anti-government at the time, with emphasis on major issues such as human rights. Lai also said the edition should focus on China-related news. He said international news and stories on other topics, such as travel and food, had been banned by Lai. Still ahead, Joe Biden wins the endorsement of a powerful labor union in his re-election campaign. 13 people arrested in a fraud case involving the use of deceased elderly residents' health care vouchers. And people line up to get new banknotes to be used as lycée money. Welcome back. U.S. President Joe Biden picked up the endorsement of the United Auto Workers on Wednesday as he addressed the powerful union's political convention. Biden is pushing to sway blue-collar workers his way in critical automaking swing states such as Michigan and Wisconsin. This, as analysts say, he hopes to cut into the advantage that former President Donald Trump has enjoyed with white voters who do not have a college degree. More from NBC News.
Hitting the accelerator to the campaign's next phase, general election season, after the Biden campaign declared that former President Trump has all but locked up the GOP nomination. Today, the United Auto Workers Convention welcomed President Biden.
It's great to be home.
Many of these blue-collar workers live in critical Midwest battlegrounds. A repeat test of Donald Trump's appeal to the working class and President Biden's history backing labor.
He's been there for us. He's shown it.
The UAW praised Mr. Biden as the first sitting president to stand with workers on strike and endorsed his re-election.
I want to pick a line. Donald Trump went to a non-union shop and attacked you.
Amid chants of support, for a second straight day on the trail, the president was interrupted by protesters, waving a Palestinian flag and calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. That tension over foreign policy on top of some bleak polling. In our latest NBC News poll, President Biden's approval rating is just 40%, disapproval at 57%. Today, some union supporters who fully back the president also expressed worry.
He does have a problem with younger voters, but those of us in labor, we pay attention.
The president heads to Wisconsin tomorrow and then campaigns in South Carolina this weekend, ahead of the Democratic Party's first primary of this cycle to award delegates.
The nose wheel of a Boeing 757 passenger jet fell out and rolled away as a Delta Airlines plane was lining up for takeoff at Atlanta's International Airport. No one was injured. The incident came after the Federal Aviation Administration announced it is halting all future production expansion of the Boeing 737 MAX 9 plane. The FAA also outlined the intense inspection and maintenance process required to get the plane back in the air. This as Boeing CEO was at Capitol Hill taking tough questions from members of the U.S. Senate. More from NBC News.
Tonight, David Calhoun, Boeing's top executive, on Capitol Hill.
Did you ask for these meetings, sir?
Getting a grilling from members of Congress. Calhoun making a promise to his customers.
Mr. Calhoun, what's your message to passengers concerned about flying on your planes?
We fly safe planes. We don't put airplanes in the air that we don't have 100% confidence in.
Calhoun's comment comes just one day after the CEO of Alaska Airlines told our Tom Costello that he was angry with Boeing and its leadership team. This after a door plug on a Boeing-built airplane operated by Alaska Airlines exploded out of the aircraft in mid-flight. A problem Ben Minicucci, Alaska's CEO, placed directly on Boeing in our exclusive interview.
There's no doubt that Alaska received an airplane off the production line with a faulty door.
Lawmakers are demanding answers. Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan, who represents a state uniquely impacted by the airline grounding 30% of their fleet, said Boeing is taking responsibility for the problem.
He does personally, and assured me that this is the most important issue, which I press him on: safety, safety, safety.
Meanwhile, as Boeing works to solve this problem, senators are warning that they need to catch issues like these well before they happen.
Aviation safety can't be reactive. It needs to be proactive.
And the NTSB is scheduled to continue their inspection at Boeing's manufacturing plant on Friday. Meanwhile, their CEO, David Calhoun, expected to be back here on Capitol Hill for a public hearing in the near future.
In Saudi Arabia, a liquor store has opened in the Muslim country for the first time in more than 70 years, a diplomat reported. Consuming alcohol is forbidden in Islam. The store in the capital city, Riyadh, comes as Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman aims to wean the kingdom off crude oil and make it a tourism and business destination. The store sits next to a supermarket in Riyadh's diplomatic quarter. It will only serve non-Muslim diplomats who must register via a mobile app to obtain a clearance code from the foreign ministry. They will also have monthly quotas for purchases. This coincides with new rules governing alcohol sales to diplomats in the kingdom. Police have arrested 13 people, including 7 Chinese medicine practitioners, in connection with a fraud case involving $40,000 worth of health care vouchers belonging to deceased elderly residents. Police seized a batch of forged documents and records of medicines that were purchased. 9 men and 4 women aged between 40 and 83 were arrested. They include relatives of the deceased elderly residents. Police said the relatives bought the deceased person's ID cards to clinics in order to use the health care vouchers remaining in their accounts. A number of Chinese medicine practitioners allegedly conspired with the relatives to falsify signatures to obtain financial support from the government. With the Lunar New Year just around the corner, the city's 3 note-issuing banks have prepared new or good-as-new banknotes for the public to put into Lycee packets. The packets filled with money are given out to wish others good luck and prosperity. HSBC, Bank of China, and Standard Chartered opened some of their branches early at 8 a.m. this morning. Some residents said they will give Lycee to family members as well as other people such as waiters in restaurants. While some are planning to give out more Lycee money than before, others think their financial situation is still challenging. The note exchange service will run until February 9th. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.